The globalization of the 21st century placed many of the responsibilities once assumed by nation-states into the hands of private enterprises. Space colonization was especially pioneered by the likes of Atlantic and SpaceX. Now, many of these corporations are left to host colonial governments and settlement efforts on alien worlds and lead the market in almost every faculty. When the human economy began to collapse on Earth, many corporations found themselves counting down to an inevitable doomsday. But out of desperation, some began exploring their options. Thus, the Kepler Initiative. Initial strides were encouraging, but after the Lab 44 breach, most collaborators backed out of the initiative and pursued safer, more expensive alternatives. This eventually brought rise to the Garamir project, which one way or another was a success, but not nearly as groundbreaking as Atlantic's breakthrough in 2104 with the first post-Kepler genotype, catapulting them and other collaborators into the limelight and effectively securing the future of humanity. Since then, corporations have become the cornerstone of human society, reining in order where it is needed and holding many municipalities on a leash with a widespread use of their tech. They're typically involved with any method of off-world commercial transport, technological innovation, legislative disputes, and most if not all colonial development on Mars, Venus, Europa, Titan, and most every other planetary body in the solar system. Being in the center of such a large market, they print their own currencies, manage their distribution, and operate in tandem as a bank to smaller ventures and individuals, while also actively competing with other corporations in the economic sphere. The colonization process of the designated sector, outlined ad nauseum in local news reports and online platforms, is one of the more prominent industries that host corporations have the honor of funding en masse. Typically, a group or an individual will propose the settlement of a specific plot of land, and upon approval, will develop it until it is self-sustaining, given there are no complications, which is next to impossible. Once a colony can sustain itself, the host corporation, in ideal situations, negotiates a constitution for a local government ruled by a colonist electorate. When these negotiations have concluded, the host corporation will either engage solely in intracolonial trade and leave the settlement either on its own or under a larger jurisdiction, or continue supporting the settlement until it is economically viable. Before this, many of the early operations conducted in the colonies were operated and funded directly by these corporations. Their unrestricted control fell out of fashion once many settlements on Mars and Luna became self-sustaining, and simply functioning as the arbiter of human commerce was enough to turn a profit. Since then, they have played a limited yet crucial role in expanding planetary trade and leading humanity into the stars. Many of the services host corporations offer in the 22nd century are dependent on civilians' continued monetary support. These subscribers typically earn unique benefits like frequent flyer rewards, exclusive social venue access, magazines, entertainment memberships, social media outlets, vacations, tours, and so on. These subscriptions can easily be misconstrued for citizenship. In reality, it is far more malleable a practice. Unlike the citizenry of ages past, subscriptions can not only be easily attained through a monthly fee, but they can also be collected. Wealthy citizens, regardless of affiliation, can own a subscription to multiple companies and incur little to no penalties whatsoever. As long as they can afford the monthly subscription, a civilian can indulge in virtually all the possible benefits this corporate era has to offer.